Alright, welcome to another video with DeMarco Gaming. We're going to be going over the God of War cross-generational messaging that's been going out right now. This is going to be a little bit of a different video since, recently I've been doing a lot of Let's Plays. So what I wanted to go over is I know there's been a lot of articles coming out and there's been a lot of videos on YouTube and from lawyer channels and stuff like that. And I've been watching all these, and what I'm seeing is a lot of people come from one side or the other, and so there's no real understanding of why this is happening. And a lot of people are reporting this as kind of as players being selfish in what they want, and that's not necessarily the case. So first thing I'm going to do is go at this from a business aspect. Businesses have stockholders, businesses have employees, and everybody gets paid from the bottom up. Because of that, the business is in the business for making money. The more money they make, the better the business feels. So the more investors will put into it. So businesses, while they want to make you happy so that you'll buy more product, they don't really necessarily care about your happiness as much as they do about your money. So if something is profitable and makes you happy, the business will do it. But if something is not profitable, such as the PSP store or the Vita store, or a lot of those where people had to fight back on game preservation, game preservation. The issue is that Sony didn't bend it first until it became a heavy issue system. So while they're still not making a lot of money, there was such a customer backlash that it made it to be a profit hurting expenditure in the future if they didn't look at it from the consumer's point of view. So there you find, while it costs Sony money, it was because of the players that they decided to keep the PS3 and Vita stores open. Now, from what I've been seeing, a lot of people have been saying, well, you know, there's 110 million PlayStation 4s out there, and there's only about 10 million to 15 million PS5s, because Sony released a new system in the middle of a worldwide issue that that hurt production of all sorts of products. Basically anything that had a microchip suffered. So production's already been low, and then on top of that, scalpers have been sucking them all up. So people have been having a hard time trying to get their hands on these units that Sony is pushing out and pushing out and pushing out without having to break the bank. The people who are lucky enough to get these units are spending at least $500 plus whatever taxes are in your area to get this unit. Okay. And Sony is saying, this is our next system. This is everything we want you to experience. We want you to see. We want you to support. So people are supporting it. They're putting money out. I myself had to buy my own PS5. That was $500. And the issue is that there's little return. So far, since I got it in November, and we are now into June, I have had every game that I played on my PS5, other than Astrobot, which is a very good game, has been a cross-generational game, or was specifically made for the PS4, and all they did was increase the performance rate for the PS5. So it doesn't actually take advantage of the PS5. When Sony said that they believe in generations, what it did was tell people, okay, so they're going to have games specific for the PS5 that are going to showcase the power of the PS5. And then they're going to have games that are cross generational, such as Spider Man. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. And gamers understand that. The problem that they're having is that games that were touted as next generation games, they came out with the PS5 having no release date and were not stated to be cross generational, were assumed to be PS5. And while the assumption by gamers may have been a mistake, the fact that Sony, knowing that that gamers are buying these systems, and Sony's putting out the messaging of this game is available, but it doesn't say that it's being produced for a lower generation. Gamers have expectations at that point. They have reservations that something's going to be worth the cost of the $500 they spent on this unit. A unit that in another year or two may be on sale during the holiday season, and finally getting its own generational games, not cross-generational, which means that everybody could have just waited until it all went on sale. But then Sony would have lost its shirt. So while a lot of these videos and articles are talking about the selfishness of the gamers, it's not. It's about a product that you purchase that you expect to be supported. And to give a little bit of information on why this hurts, because a lot of people are coming at this going, well, it's on both systems. Why do you care? When a game is produced for a PC with supernatural specifications and stuff like that, and then they bring it down to the PS4, you get problems like Cyberpunk, which just came out this last generation that we were just talking about in November when they released theirs, and it was incompatible with the PlayStation 4. It was so broken that people were comparing it to Nintendo 64s. That's how bad that game was on a PS4. But I had it for the PS5. There were some bugs, but it wasn't game breaking. It was no more than anybody else's release of a AAA game that had some bugs that need to be ironed out. I didn't have crashes. I didn't have save issues. I didn't have any of those problems. I did have graphical glitches and stuff like that. And that's what I'm saying. You know, you had when you shot an enemy and killed them, they just like ended up in T-pose and stuff like that. Those are bugs. They're not game breaking. They are immersion breaking, but they can be ironed out. The PS4 was unplayable. It wasn't, you know, something that you just had to, you know, let them fix. It was, that should have never been sold. The PS5 didn't have that issue. Now, the PS4 Pro might have had some issues. I didn't play it on the PS4, but some people were stouting that it was playable on the PS4, while not as good graphically as the PS5, obviously. The PS5 was taking the PS4 version, and once again, it was playing it at a performance upgrade, because that's naturally burned into Sony's hardware. So it will automatically try to up-res or increase performance on games from the PS4 era. It is not the PS5 edition of the game. Take that and bring it over to God of War. Okay. Now, being that this is Sony's system, okay, you're probably not going to have the buggy, broken mess, okay? But the problem here is going to be that you're going to have one of two issues. Either A, Sony is going to make this game for the PS5. They're going to make it with ray tracing and the super SD drive speed ability, the higher CPU, and all that. And what happens is developers will bake all of the game around those features. So they're going to look at it and they're going to go, okay, well, we have a great CPU which will run all these things on screen. So the world looks lived in and wonderful and everything else. And they're touting this masterpiece of a game and they're showing off all this detail and everything else. PS4 doesn't have those specs. PS4 doesn't have those specs. The CPU is not as fast. The memory is not as great. The graphics card is not going to be as comparable, and they will not have ray tracing. They will not have 60 frames per second or anything like that. 4K, that's even on the PS4 Pro. They don't have true 4K. They have it's not a native 4K. It's an up-res kind of algorithmic 4K. So you're basically going to have to either dumb it down, which means that they start removing features for the PS4 version, or they still can't even get it that far down, in which case what they have to start doing is putting in systems that'll try to make it look better, but it will never look like it's supposed to on the PS5. So the PS4 owners will look at that and go, oh my God, I bought this $60 game and it looks like garbage. While my friend is playing that same $60 game on the PS5 and it looks amazing. So what does this do? It divides the gaming population on the Sony itself. And this is Sony's issue. This is Sony's issue because this is a messaging problem. If they truly believe that the PS5 is the next generation, they need to be pushing their games to the PS5. Now, there was a YouTube video with Destin from IGN. And in his video, he talked about the fact that just because you're putting it on a PS4 and a PS5 doesn't mean that, you know, you're sacrificing anything for the PS5. That's incorrect. That's incorrect. If you are building for a PS5, then you're in that statement, then yes, the PS5, it was built for, and therefore your PS5 will be the best thing possible. But then you get on the PS4, the cyberpunk method of game development. And that's not where you want Sony to be. And then he further said that that Sony, and keep in mind I'm paraphrasing here. I don't have his video right up on screen to go statement by statement. But he was stating that, you know, Sony has to be able to put it on both these systems to appease gamers. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. Then he said that people who are on the PS5 are basically being selfish, that they believe that Sony should have to support the PS5. And in this way, he's right. They should have to support the PS5. They put a product out there and expected consumers to pay for it. Consumers have the right at that point to demand that Sony support the product they put out. They charged money for a product. That product has a certain expectation. Therefore, Sony has to support it. Now, does that mean that they have to just make games for the PS5? No. But does that mean that players are less likely to be satisfied with their purchase of a PlayStation? Yes. What does that look like down the road? It looks like people not buying systems when they come out, seeing if they're actually worth their money. Or, in my case, I have a gaming PC. And Sony is moving all of their first-party titles over to Steam anyway. We've already got Days Gone and Horizon Zero Dawn. And I'm sure we'll end up at some point with Ratchet and Clank and many of the others. God of War. If Sony wants to just sell software, then they don't need the hardware to do so. Sony has an ecosystem. They have the hardware ecosystem. And when you buy into a PS5, you're buying into that ecosystem, which means that people are expecting PS5 titles. Now, Destin then said that you can't expect to force all developers to support a new console every time one comes out, and he's absolutely right. All developers shouldn't. Sony first party studios absolutely should. Absolutely should. God of War is made by Santa Monica Studios. That is a owned studio by Sony themselves. They should be pushing their new hardware. They should not be pushing their old hardware. The old hardware is there. That's fine. I understand. PS5 is the future. That's what they have stouted. That is what people have paid for, and that is what people are expecting. And MLB has been moved to, from Sony San Diego, has been moved to all generations and is on the Game Pass on Xbox. So this is another problem for sports fans who got PlayStations, because why are they buying a $500 system when they can just play it on their PC, or they can play it on their Xbox, or any other generation? They can play it on the PS4 because it's still cross generational with the PS4. There is no real reason to buy a PS5 right now other than to say you have one. Like I said, Astrobot was a great game. It'll be there when you buy the PS5 5 years from now. It's not worth $500. People want to feel like they've actually made a good purchase. And unfortunately, the way this is being handled, it's not going to be a good purchase. You're either going to get a great product for the PS5 while the PS4 owners get a substandard product, or you're going to have a kind of a cut in the middle where Sony basically has to go and apply a certain standard down the center, and then maybe take a little bit from PS4 to get it to work on that, and then PS5 just doesn't get all of the ability that the PS5 actually has until Sony actually goes and recreates God of War for the PS5. So that's my take on it. Unfortunately, like I said, I've been seeing a lot of these articles, a lot of these videos, and they're either coming at it from, well, the business has rights to make money, or they're saying, people are just being selfish, and it's not really either. The business does have right to make money, but it also has the responsibility to handle its product in a better manner than Sony has been doing. At the same time, consumers, while they have to understand that businesses have to make money and that there are millions of people on the PS4, they have a right to their expectations being met in a new system that is sold by a company. So that's it for this video. Please like and subscribe if you like this content. And I don't do these videos very often because I know they can be kind of controversial. Everybody believes a little bit of something. But in this case, I don't think this is a belief issue. It's just an understanding from both sides having to be kind of talked about in the same in the same method. All right. So thank you for watching and have a good day.